to another edition of On Point for today, the 28th day of March 2025. And of course, my name is Alexis Jeffers, and I am your host for this afternoon's program. And I've been the host since the inception of this particular show. It is always my pleasure coming here on a Friday afternoon where I spend my lunch hour with you who would have taken some time out of your busy schedule to tune into Von Radio at this particular point in time to listen to this show. But I know Von Radio is a station that persons listen to pretty much, 24/7, because we're on the FM band. And once the FM is up and running, then of course the programming continues, even though the AM is off at 10 p.m. nightly. That being the case, let me just inform you that Von Radio can be found at 93.7 FM, and you get the same and even better quality sound that you get here on the AM band. You get it much cleaner and better there on the FM band. But that is the quality of programming and sound that you get out of Von Radio. So I'm bigging up Von Radio this afternoon because, of course, only the best will do around here, and that is what they have done over the last 30-something plus years. That being said, let me say hello and welcome to all who are listening here on the island of Nevis, all of the 5 parishes, that is. And, of course, down in St. Kitts, we do have a huge following down there as well. I want to welcome our sister island of St. Kitts, and those of you who would have tuned in this afternoon. Further afield, of course, Sabre Statia, St. Bart's and French and Dutch St. Martin, the British and U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, up into the great United States, from the East Coast into the heartland of America and all the way across the West Coast. I say good afternoon, good day, or good morning in the case of the West Coast to all who are listening, because we know we have nationals who live throughout the entire United States, and of course we go up to Canada, just across the border. We have listeners there in Toronto, Ontario, Montreal, all of those cities in the great Canada province, that is. And of course we welcome one and all. I don't have any names specifically to mention at this time, but here's something I'll say though. I want to welcome home, because I've mentioned her name here on the program from time to time. That is Skipper Daniel, Ursula Daniel, and her family are here on the island of Nevis. I say welcome home. And of course it's always good to have my villagers come home to spend some time with us. When I say villagers, let me be specific and say, Brick Hill natives coming back home to spend time with us. And anyone else who would have decided to come home at this time of the year, because of course there's still some cold weather up there in the north. Let me move up to Europe. Of course, shout out the folks in the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Denmark, the whole of Europe, and then into Asia. Of course, we want to say hello to all of our nationals there in the Republic of China, Taiwan, who are either studying there or working or visiting. Whatever the case might be, I say good morning to you and welcome to the show this afternoon, and we are certainly happy to have you with us. This afternoon we'll take the same format that we normally would and just express condolences to the folks who are in the bereaved column today or this afternoon. At least I will say that I do not have anyone specifically to mention at this point in time. Oh yes, I do. I did speak about my friend there and our colleague, Mr. Keith Glasgow. I spoke about him 2 weeks ago when he would have passed, and I want to say at this point in time, just by way of information, that the funeral service for Keith Glasgow will be next Monday afternoon. I believe the time is about 2:30 p.m. But I will say listen to Von Radio, where the death announcement is currently being aired from time to time. When those slots come up, you would hear the time, but it's on Monday, the 31st day of March, over there at the St. James Anglican Church. I want all those who would have known Keith, who were colleagues of Keith, family member of Keith Glasgow, to come out and show your full support and let the family know that Keith would have meant so much to you, so much to all of us. So we will all go out on Monday afternoon, and like I said, just listen to Von Radio later this evening, and perhaps over the weekend or even by Monday to get the exact time. But I believe it's about 2:30 p.m. When that church service would start. That being said, I just recall that we would have been informed of the passing of Miss Liebert up there in Barnscott. That is the mom of persons like Livingston Liebert or Livy Liebert and Judith Liebert, two persons who I would have worked with in the past. They were at TDC, and two persons who I know very well. Of course, we know of Hilarina Rovina Liebert. You hear that name, a very popular name, taxi driver, taxi operator, and other things. That's their mom. And of course, all of the other family members who are in the bereaved column at this point in time, who would have lost a loved one, along with the names that I just mentioned, everyone in that family who are, saddened at this point in time upon losing their mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, aunt, whatever the case might be. We are all, grieving with you, because, of course, when you lose a loved one, there's some finality to that here on this earth. So we understand, to some extent, the difficulty or the difficulties when someone so dear to you would have passed away, and we would want to express our sympathies in that regard, and everyone else, because there are quite a number of family members who are grieving at this time. We want to put you in the arms of Christ, and He will provide that level of comfort and guidance for you at this most difficult period of time. I also want to just say to those persons who would have lost a loved one through any traffic accident in recent times, because it seems as though that is one of the phenomena that are taking hold of this federation at this particular point in time. Yes, it is true that we haven't had such in Nevis, but when we lose a young person, whether they're in Nevis or in St. Kitts, through a traffic accident, which is so tragic sometimes, to even look at some of these pictures, you understand the pain that someone would have gone through in such a situation, and the family would be going through such pain at this point in time as well. We want to express our sympathies to those persons who would have lost a loved one in recent days, in recent weeks, or in recent months through a traffic accident. I think we had one last night. Some young chap would have succumbed to his injuries by way of a motorcycle accident. And that is why at this point I'm mentioning it, that because I want our young people to understand that speed gets you nowhere fast, unless it's to the cemetery, of course. It is true that there are good infrastructure both on Nevis and on St. Kitts, but we have to be absolutely responsible when we operate vehicles, whether it's a motorcycle, a car, truck, or whatever the case might be. I still feel like we drive too fast on the road, a level of recklessness on the road, and indeed we certainly don't want these accidents to continue whereby innocent persons, and I say innocent, and something just came to mind whereby I believe there was a pedestrian who was injured in St. Kitts over the last couple of days as well. So it therefore means that things are happening to not only drivers but pedestrians and persons who are, considered innocent persons who use the road, whether by way of being a pedestrian or a driver. And that is why I say we have to be careful on the road, and we have to be our brothers and sisters keeper when we're driving. Drive for the other person, let us put it that way. But we don't want to have any more of these accidents, and we are asking our people and imploring our drivers to use extra care and attention on the road and be as responsible as you can. So I just figure I'll put that on the table as I was speaking about persons who have passed and so forth. It just came to me. That being said, we have sad times. There's also time when we celebrate, time when we have a good time, if I were to put it that way. So there are persons out there who I'm sure are celebrating a birthday today, an anniversary, or some other major milestone. I want to wish you best of luck and best wishes, and also I ask you to go on out and enjoy yourself in the most responsible and safest way possible, so that you can be around to enjoy many more celebrations. And I've said it before and I continue to say it again, that once you're celebrating a birthday or any milestone or any type of celebration whatsoever, I would say go out and enjoy yourself to the max. If you have $1, spend 50 cents on yourself. If you have $100, spend $50, whatever the case might be. Just spend it on yourself and pamper yourself and tell yourself this may very well be the last, but from our standpoint, we would want to be around for many more years to come. So celebrate and enjoy yourself, because of course only you can provide that level of entertainment and joy and celebration, or that type of mood to yourself. So take care of yourself and enjoy. Yeah? Okay, let's move on from there. The weather outside is fantastic, very nice. We had some rain yesterday, and I suppose some showers last night in some parts of the island. But of course, as soon as that rain falls, then it dissipates or it dries up quickly, because we've been getting some beautiful sunlight and hot sun over the last couple of days. But that's okay. It is what it is. The weather changes. You have good days, bad days, excellent days, not so good days, whatever the case might be. Today is one of those days when I would say it is a gorgeous day outside. Very hot though. I believe the temperature is in the 80s. But be that as it may, we'll take it all. We'll take the sun, we'll take the rain. We'll take the wind, we'll take the storm. When it's all said and done, we are just saying that we hope that we'll have the protection that is necessary to ensure that we can go through all of the different weather conditions and pattern in such a way that we'll come out on the other side in one piece. Okay, so the weather is good today, and what is also happening today is down there at the park. I'm sure persons are saying, well, it's blazing hot down there in the park. Of course it is, but there's an excellent event taking place down there in the E.T. Willett Park, the Elko Meadow Willett Park, formerly known as the Grove Park, right down there in Charlestown. So those of you who are in the countryside, those of you who are contemplating coming, make haste and come to town and see what you can get to buy up there in the park. It is the 27th staging or hosting of the Agri Expo. It was once dubbed the Agriculture Open Day, but I believe it was about 2 years ago the name was changed to the Agriculture Expo, where they would have incorporated, other things from the business side of it, meaning companies like TDC Horsfords and other entities, such as persons who make various items out of ceramic material. I think I saw, what's his name, Malcolm Hanley down there. He makes trophies and plaques and face basin and pots, what you call it, flower pots and the like. So he is there along with, I believe I saw down there the island fencing, this fencing company over here, JNF Fencing, I believe it is called, over here at Long Point, and also the galvanized manufacturing entity that is over there. So all of the manufacturing companies, or most of them I would say, are there, along with other entities who are displaying some of the things that they make, or some of the items that they sell, along with the vendors who are selling provisions, vegetables, smoothies, food items, the whole likes. There are a number of stalls down there to view and to patronize. So I'm asking you to go down and make sure when you go, stop by my good friend Monique Washington. She have, she makes soaps. I normally get my soap from Monique and other oil and gels and so forth that she sells. And other persons down there are selling those as well too. This is some free advertisement for those who are down there in the park right now, but those who are listening, whether you're in the country area, somewhere here on Nevis, or even in St. Kitts and thinking about coming over, there are a wide variety of items that you can choose from down there. So go on down and have a look and buy because the persons who are there are certainly looking forward to your patronage. And of course, carry your wallet, your purse, your whatever. And also keep in mind, I will speak about it in a few minutes, but keep in mind that plastic bags, single-use plastic bags, will be at least gotten rid of or banned or not being used in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in short order. So if you have your shopping bag at home, put it over your shoulder, bring it along with you, bring one, bring two, bring three, and make sure you can get them all filled up with the goodies that are down there. So that Agri Expo, of course, it is a demonstration or display of what would have transpired in agriculture over the last year here on the island of Nevis, from the Department of Agriculture standpoint, and also from all farmers, livestock farmers, crop farmers, and the likes. So at least you would see what is available to you here on the island of Nevis, down there through those displays that are there, and of course you'll buy, like I said. But it is a culmination of 1 year of hard work in the on the island of Nevis, and indeed it certainly shows what the future look like in agriculture right down there at the E.T. Willett Park. And I am so happy to see what I have seen thus far. As the former Minister of Agriculture, I understand what the effort is all about, and what the attempt what the attempt is in terms of ensuring that we can present something to the Nevisian public as to what we are trying to achieve in agriculture here on the island of Nevis. So far so good in terms of what I've seen. Of course, it cannot be as successful as it should be without your input and your presence. And it brings to mind what we've always been saying all along, that we should grow what we eat what we grow, and also I have always said as well that we should always make food or medicine and medicine or food. Indeed, that is true to a large extent, but I also want to put in to make food, local food or medicine, and local food is what we're trying to push. And of course, if you eat local, you know exactly what you're eating. And when I say that, you can journey up to Potworks, for example, and you'll see the farmers who are there, and you can see what they're doing on their farms. In terms of someone like Daniel, that's Dole, we call him, and also former police officer Bedford. They have their farm there in Potworks along with the government farm. You see what is being done on a daily basis, and I can say to you that you do not see this large use of pesticide as would occur in other countries, that you would not see it, but we know that is the case. But here on the island of Nevis, you traverse the whole of Nevis and see these farms, and you can safely say that you have seen a lot of effort being exerted, yes, not along the lines of pesticides being used, but more so a lot of what we eat here are organic items, organic stuff, yes. So you go up to Madden's, where the government stock farm is, where they raise their herd cattle, and these are farm raised animals, or what do they call it now, this grazing, well, they graze on the natural grass, of course. And indeed, that is something that we can certainly boast of and say how healthy our food chain here is on the island of Nevis. Once we don't have the influx of those foreign products, if you were to stick locally and look at the local products that are being produced, then you're eating something wholesome. You go down to the river, same thing, Mike Brown and his team there on his farm. I've never seen them using any pesticide down there. Same thing with Jama Griffin there. And of course, we produce a lot of eggs there in the river. Mr. Jones, Anthony Jones, and what's his name, Wilroy Gerald egg farm. Those are just naturally produced stuff. And then you go all around Nevis, whether it's over here in Prospect, where most of the livestock farmers are, you would understand what I mean by, patronizing the local farmer, livestock or crop farmer, because these are, you know, products that we can safely say are locally produced in the most hygienic and in the best standards possible. And that is why I believe we have some of the most healthy persons around here. I mean, those diseases that you see in some other countries, I will say that Nevis, or St. Kitts Nevis on a whole, we can say that the food chain is such that we can be confident about what we're eating and the likes. Okay, so I just wanted to put that in there, and just to encourage our people to go down and buy up some of the stuff that are down there, because Mackie Truss, I forgot his name because he's one of the trailblazers as well. That's some lovely carrots and watermelon and kale and jelly trees and all the likes down there in his stall, so you can certainly go and check him out as well. So everyone requires some attention when you go there and see how much you can buy. Okay, so let's move along from there and let's move on. Before I go to that, I almost forgot my own business. How can I forget my own business? I'm going to put in a plug here and now for the 7th annual staging of the Honorable Alexis Jeffers Cricket Extravaganza, which comes up on Easter Sunday, which is the 20th day of April 2025, right over there at the VO Sporting Complex. And indeed, we have 4 teams that will be participating in this particular extravaganza. There will be a Guyanese select team out of St. Kitts, which will play against a Guyanese select team out of Nevis. So that will be the first match. And then, of course, a St. Kitts select senior team will be playing against a Nevis select senior team. So 2 matches, and those will be held over there on Easter Sunday. We'll have a promo or advertisement here on Von Radio at the start of next week, because I want the word to get out and I want as many of you to come and support good quality cricket. Now, music will be provided, of course. You'll have DJ Lalbo, DJ Zimba, we'll have Blackstone sound system as well. So we'll have some good quality music over there. You'll have food, drinks, and the whole likes, and good company. And of course, I know we'll have a good turnout from the Guyanese community, because when St. Kitts meet Nevis, or Nevis meets St. Kitts, of course, all who can make it from the Guyanese community will come to support their team. They are lovers of cricket, and of course, once cricket is played, I expect them to come and support, of course. So that will be on the Easter Sunday, the 20th day of April. And like I said, there'll be more to learn about that here on Von Radio when we have that advertisement next week. And before I run on to the next items on my sheet here, how could I forget to mention Danny Atherton as the patron for this year's Agri Expo. I apologize, Danny, profusely as well. I just saw this sheet here in front of me, and I pick it up and I see your picture here. So you are the honored patron of this year's Agriculture Open Day, and I want to congratulate you. You're one who would have blazed the trail in agriculture here on the island of Nevis. Well, you'd have given a lot to agriculture, so homage is being paid back to you at this point in time by honoring you. And I know that you're still in the field of agriculture, because of course you have your farm over there at Cades Bay on Westbury Road. And just like I was just mentioning that persons here on the island who are farmers, who are in this business, would certainly apply some techniques that would not affect our food chain in such a way to create any illnesses or any difficulties or challenges for our people. Danny is one such person who, if you were to visit his farm, you would understand what it means by the use of technology to grow his crops and also to apply his trade. So he is someone you may want to pay a visit someday. I believe he would welcome you with open arms if you were to go and visit him, and he would give you a lecture, of course, and give you some history and what's not about the agriculture sector, because he knows it from top to bottom. He was once in charge of the marketing division, and he would have spearheaded what we call the Nevis model, where farmers would bring their items or their produce to the marketing division that is still existing as an arm of the agriculture department, and then of course from there those goods will be sold to the Four Seasons Resort and anyone else for that matter. But it certainly would have meant that, and it means that farmers can concentrate on plying their trade in terms of farming, and then of course the marketing will be done by the marketing division of the agriculture Department of Agriculture, that is. So Danny, congratulations once again. Let's move right along. Of course, last Friday, like I was saying, I was not here live on the program because of course there was a meeting of the Federal Parliament last week where well, 3 bills were set for second reading, but only 2 were eventually read. One was the Plastic Waste Reduction Bill 2025, and of course the Integrity in Public Life Amendment Bill 2025. So those 2 bills were dealt with last week, but the one that I want to look at quickly is just the Plastic Waste Reduction Bill 2025, where at least you'd have heard all along for a number of years now about the banning of plastic, single-use plastic, and what that means. These are these shopping bags, these plastic shopping bags, along with other items such as plastic straws, plastic cups, and styrofoam containers, food containers, that is. So we're heading towards the point where these will be eliminated from our market. And of course, persons may ask, well, what would you replace them with? And I'll just mention a couple of things that would be important to you as listeners, and indeed opportunities will be created as well. But I do believe that the difficulties that have been posed by single-use plastics, where they end up in our water course and end up in the ocean and eventually end up in the sea life in terms of fishes and so forth, those would eventually end up right back into our system, in terms of us eating fish, and then fish will contain these microplastics, pieces of plastic that end up right in our bodies. And these are the harmful effects of irresponsible disposal of single-use plastics. And that is what is contemplated with this bill, and that is to ensure that we're moving away from such practices, where we can be more mindful as we go along, that we have to protect our environment, we have to protect our life, and we have to protect our future. That being said, from what it shows here and from what was passed last week, and what we now know will be the case, in that with effect from March 31st, 2025, no person, firm, or corporation shall distribute or sell plastic t-shirt bags within St. Christopher and Nevis. So that is as of the 31st, that is of Monday. So whatever is already here, well, as far as I'm concerned, there will be no further distribution of those t-shirt plastic bags as of Monday. With effect from the 30th of April 2025, it shall be unlawful to import into St. Christopher and Nevis styrofoam food containers, those white containers that you would get on the side of the road or when you go to a restaurant for takeout. Those are done. Single-use plastic straws, well, you know what those are, and those styrofoam egg crates. You buy those. Sadly, those were available, and you'll see emblazoned on them local eggs, but those will be no longer used. And effective July 31st, of course, no person, firm, or corporation shall distribute or sell within the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis styrofoam food containers, single-use plastic straws, or styrofoam egg crates. Now, what it says previously on the 30th of April, it will be unlawful to import those things that I just mentioned: styrofoam food containers, single-use plastic straws, and styrofoam egg crates. But as of the 31st of July 2025, no firm or corporation shall distribute or sell these items. So you will be the importation will come to an end on the 30th of April. Whatever is in the market, once it's done, on the 31st of July, there'll be no more importation of those items. Of course, with effect from the 31st of August, it shall be unlawful to import into the Federation single-use plastic plates, single-use cups, and also single-use cutleries, forks and a knife and spoon, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. And as of the 30th of November, then it is all done. Everything will be outlawed, and in terms of importation, that's all done. So we ask the question, what are the alternatives? Well, of course, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, or the Nevis Island Administration as well, will be facilitating any person who or corporation who would like to import alternatives. I see alternatives being used thus far, meaning those paper boxes to place food in them, for example. And also there are different type of straws being used, paper straws. Many persons may have the difficulties and challenges with these items, but of course there's always new technology that is available to us, and I want persons who see an opportunity here to seek out alternatives and bring these alternatives to the relevant institution or competent authority that will deal with such matters, so that at least we can get the right items here in the Federation that will not harm our environment, but rather to ensure that we are doing the right things to protect our future, protect our marine life, protect our food chain, protect persons in general, and protect our future. Yeah. So these are the things that we have to be cognizant of. And of course, when changes come, persons have their challenges and difficulties, but of course we have to look at the flip side of that and wonder if some of the health challenges that persons are facing, whether it's Alzheimer's disease, chronic illnesses that are out there, whether some of these can be traced back to some of the practices that we now are engaging in, whereby we're eating a lot of seafood. Okay, that's where most of us get our protein on a daily basis, but whether that is now affecting us and have been affecting us for some time. So let us be mindful of that, and let us protect our environment and ensure that even the tourism sector that we depend on, that we can protect it as well. Just imagine going down to Pinnis Beach or going to any other major beach here on the island of Nevis, and you see all of these plastic waste, plastic bags, plastic cups, and the likes. And our tourists are expected, but not only our tourists, but we ourselves. I said tourists because I mentioned the word our tourism product just now. But not only our tourists, but our citizens and residents go to these beaches and see all of these debris, these waste, plastic waste. It certainly is unsightly, it is unhealthy, and it makes its way into the ocean as well. But before that, you see all this, and you certainly wouldn't want to go to such beach to bathe, and you don't want to be in that kind of environment or that type of environment. So I am saying to all of us that it is our duty as citizens, as protectors of this universe, to do our best to keep the island and keep our environment as clean as possible. Okay, good. So we're going to move on past that. I just had to mention that as in passing, because it is an important and historic bill whereby we are moving ahead to protect what we have. It is important, and we have to be the ones to do that in this particular day and age. Okay, so moving right along. 2 weeks ago when I was here, I started talking about the opposition here on the island of Nevis, which would have laid it out clear to us, clear to me, of course, that they are campaigning. Yes, they have been campaigning now for nearly, 15 years? I don't even know. They have been campaigning every day anyway, and every week. But one of the things that they would have delved into in recent times and have suggested to me, listening to them, and those out there who would have heard them, it almost seems like the NRP is saying to us that they were comfortable with this VAT pooling arrangement, and they would be inclined to go back into such arrangement if, God forbid, they become the government of Nevis, maybe in the next 15, 20 years or whatever the case might be. I don't even know, because I really didn't want to touch this again, but I'll touch it again. Why? Is because I am a lover of history, and I know when it comes to history, history repeats itself. And there are certain things about history that you certainly don't want to repeat. Even though in some instances it repeats itself, there are certain things that you just don't want to revisit or go back to. And this is one of those such arrangements that I would want the NRP to understand that we left that a long time ago in 2013, 2014. And we left it because it was our opinion, humble opinion, that it was not working. And the numbers prove that it was not working, and the numbers would prove moving forward, if you were to have the same situation, the numbers would prove that it still won't work. I have said before that the position of the concerned citizens movement in opposition and in government is that, listen, we're not interested in a VAT pooling arrangement. We're not interested in what VAT is collected in St. Kitts in terms of having any part to play in that or any share of that. Whatever we make in Nevis, we are satisfied. We have also said that if, for example, the arrangements can be changed, should be changed, whereby companies that do business in Nevis pay the VAT in Nevis, because here is where the VAT is generated, then of course that would add to the VAT collections that we have on Nevis. The NRP has had a different way of thinking about this thing. What they're saying, that they went into a VAT pooling arrangement because there are people from Nevis who go to St. Kitts to buy items and they pay VAT over there, so they're trying to get that back. Just imagine maybe about 10 to 15 persons go to St. Kitts, maybe weekly or monthly, to buy items over there. Because, you know, if you go down to TDC in St. Kitts and you see an item that you want or you like, you may buy it there. You go down to Ashley's Furniture and you see a chair set, you may buy it there, whatever the case might be. But there are hundreds, thousands of persons who walk into some of these businesses that are registered in St. Kitts, do business in Nevis. You walk into those stores every single day, and I'm talking about TDC, Hosford's, Courts, you're talking about Flow, you're talking about National Group of Companies, and the list goes on and on. So thousands of persons patronize these businesses on a monthly or a yearly basis. Let me say an annual basis. But in St. Kitts, a couple persons go to St. Kitts, and that's what the NRP is fighting over. That is what they say they want. But we are saying different, that the arrangement should be such whereby those companies that I just mentioned and all those who I didn't mention who do business in Nevis, even though they're registered in St. Kitts, that VAT should be paid in Nevis. Those VAT amount to almost $200+ million annually. And if we were to use a simple figure of 200 million annually, you're looking at about $34 million extra that will be collected in Nevis annually in VAT collection, on top of what we collect annually over here, which is somewhere in the region of about $37 million. So you add the additional amount to that. But when you look at what we would have discovered based on what the NRP is saying and why they would have entered into this arrangement, I'm not going to go into all of the numbers, but I'll tell you, they collected from that pooled amount, the pooled amount between St. Kitts and Nevis, they collected an average of $1.2 million annually between 2011, 2012, and 2013. So it was just over $1.5 million thereabout. Average. Because I believe in 2011 they collected just over $2 million over and above. That's monthly, monthly. I apologize. And I believe instead of going through that, I probably should just give you quickly what the net return was to NRP, because I wrote it down here under the NRP government. In 2011, the NRP would have put into the pool and got back, what they put into the pool here? They put in 31.63 million they put into the pool in 2011, and they got back 33.65 million. So just over $2 million they got back for 2011. 2012 they put in 32.63 million and got back 33.76 million, just about $1.1 million. In 2013, 36.76 million went in and got back 35.17 million. So that was a negative return of 1.59 million. So they lost $1.5 million. So in essence, that is why I said initially I give them an average of about $1.5 million per year between 2011, 2012, 2013. That is what they were getting back annually. If that is worth it to them, it's up to them. Well, you look at what we would have done since we said we were done with that arrangement. Throughout the year of 2013, I believe about 7 of those months we would have lost. We would have gotten back less than what we put in. For example, January put in 3.3, got back 3 million. February put in 3.6, got back 2.8. March put in 3.1, got back 2.2. April put in 3.7, got back 3 million. May put in 3.2, got back 3 million. June put in 2.1, got back 2.4. That's when you got an extra $300,000. If it's worth it to the NRP, well, so be it. It doesn't make sense to me. July put in 3 million, and got back 2.8. So you made a loss there. August put in 2.8, got back 2.9. You got back $100,000 extra in August of 2013. 2013 September 3.1 put in, got back 2.6. October put in 2.9, you got back 3.4, so you got an extra $500 million there. November put in 2.4, you got back 3 million, an extra 6 million. And then in December put in 3.3, you got back 3.6, just about $300,000 back to us then. So in essence, throughout the whole of 2013, we had a net of just $1.8 million. So you ask yourself the question, well, why did the NRP enter into such arrangement? And I understand someone called me and told me that, boy, you're making big news because the former Premier Parry would have done an interview with one of the failures in the NRP there. And he said that they were advised by Kartak. I remember what's his name there. This Calypsonian, Unexpected, would have done a song, and he mentioned about Kartak. And for those of you who are wondering what is this Kartak that the former Premier mentioned and what we would have heard about, well, Kartak is actually the Caribbean Regional Technical Assistance Center, and that is an entity. When you hear Kartak, you start to think IMF, the International Monetary Fund, because you see, when you're in trouble, when your economy is in trouble and you need technical guidance and technical assistance, that is when this entity comes in. And that is what happened under the NRP, where they ran into problems. They would have gotten an economy back in 2006, a buoyant economy, whereby we can safely say that at that time the overdraft for the NIA then was $29 million. By the time NRP left government, they would have ran that up to 65 million, turn it into a loan, and then ran the overdraft up again to another $65 million. So that is what you had under the NRP. They inherited a good economy, and some people may not want to hear these things, but that's okay. History, like I said, is important to all of us because we don't want to go back there. And those who would have created this destruction cannot be the one to solve any problems or fix any difficulties, because their history tells us that every time that the NRP has had to manage any economy here on the island of Nevis, they have run it into the ground and have destroyed what they would have met. Yeah? So I am saying to you that because of the difficulties that the NRP would have run this economy into, they would have had to turn to Kartak, because the IMF got involved and we knew about the difficulties that the entire federation had in terms of national debt, and NRP was a part of that. And because of that, Carter came and lent the advice and told them they had to pull the VAT resources. No such thing has ever happened under the CCM. We have always been prudent, sensible in our approach to the management of the affairs of the island of Nevis. So what happened under the NRP? Carter came in, and I want to say this to former Premier Parry: do not let these losers or these failures in NRP and these gangsters in NRP lead you down a road from which you cannot return. They'll abandon you down there. Just like how they abandoned you in the past. They abandoned your vision, they abandoned your legacy when they went and they mash up everything when you left in terms of the leadership. Because the Daniels said they were coming back for their party and they came, and whatever happened with them and Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons, the same person who you, former Premier Parry, would have selected as your replacement over there in St. Thomas's, she is no longer in the same party that you once led. So your vision and your legacy is all done and mashed up. So don't let them take you down a road and abandon you whereby you have difficulty returning. You're already retired, and I want you to enjoy your retirement. Don't let people come and take you up out of your retirement bed. And I'm just giving you some advice. You don't have to listen to me, but I mean, we understand that the politics will have to be played. But once you get yourself into the mix, Mr. Parry, your name will be mentioned. I wasn't even thinking about you. But since you would have gone and said exactly what happened then in terms of car attack, I had to let the people know what you are missing out on and what you're not divulging. But because the economy was in trouble it was in, that is why car attack had to get involved. And that is why under the NRP, institution or entities like the Kuwaiti Fund was not being paid. And let me remind the people of Nevis, the Kuwaiti Fund was engaged by the Concerned Citizens Movement in government to provide funding for the Long Point Pier, that road you see going across Long Point, and also the refurbishment and the fixing up of Charlestown waterfront, that beautiful waterfront you see down there. They were given soft loans at concessionary rates, and as far as I'm concerned, we had an excellent relationship with the Kuwaiti Fund. But what happened? NRP came in, refused to pay, and we lost all of that capital that we had then. That good relationship went down the drain. Same thing with the Republic of China, Taiwan. We would have gotten soft loans. These are international institutions I'm talking about. And whatever loans we would have gotten, the NRP refused to pay, was not paying. And that is a FACTS. Those are facts. So I want someone to come and refute that, because we had to re-establish relations with these two entities when we got into government back in 2013. The Unit Trust Corporation in Trinidad, a loan was had from them for the purchase of 750 acres of lands, I believe, down here at Pennies. All that was not being paid by the NRP, refused to pay. Social Security was not being paid. As a matter of fact, all of the financial instruments that were owned or held by persons here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and more so in Nevis, even churches, they had to take a 50% haircut because of the financial difficulties that the NRP would have run this economy into. Mismanagement of the island of Nevis, right? So that is why you're hearing about this pooling of VAT resources, and also the car attack and the IMF being in our throat at that point in time. All done by the NRP. And that is why I said to you, former Premier Parry, do not let these people come and fool you with no nonsense. You're a respectable person. You go ahead and enjoy your retirement. But I'll say to you, and I'll say to the NRP, that it is a fact that when the NRP was there for 6.5 years, between the years of 2006 and 2013, they would have run up the debt to $158 million. $158 million they added to the debt, an average of just about $26 million per year. Never before in the history of Nevis have we seen such thing. And by comparison, because I want to be clear and I want to be as transparent as possible, I will say between 2013 to 2021, the CCM would have added $99.3 million to the debt. And that is what, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 9 years. 99, if you want to round it off to 100 million. Do that. And they did $158 million added to the debt within a 6.5-year period. So if we were to look at what we would have seen, their $158 million, you understand what was happening then. Reckless in every respect. So when you hear people talking on radio and sound a certain way, that's why I did say, that my grandmother used to tell me, boy, some people just sound down sprite, eh? Said it before and I say it again, and whoever want to hold it against me is up to them. So, that being said, we know exactly why we would have gone down that road back in 2010, 2011, under the NRP, because they would have done something to this island and done something that we cannot revisit again. As a matter of fact, I have said before and I continue to say that NRP was privileged then, because they would have inherited enough cash right up there at the NHLDC. At least $56 or $58 million in cash from the sale of 400, how much was it? 600 acres of lands down there at Penny's. Cash. And then they still turn around and take up 10 million US dollars out, 27 million EC dollars out of Scotiabank and whack out that too. They sold all the lands that was still remaining down there, and I believe when I checked the record then, and my memory can serve me right at this point in time, they made approximately $15 million out of the sale of those lands up there at Nugent Heights and Nugent Village. And we need to repeat these things because these are facts that I'm talking about, and these are things that the NRP will not talk about, of course not. They would find fault in everything that the CCM is doing or has done, but they will never pick the beam out of their eyes first. But we'll let you know, because I'm not afraid of talking about our record in government, because our record speaks for itself. As a matter of fact, every time I listen to debates around the Caribbean and regionally and otherwise, and you hear all of the things that are happening in terms of problems with water, problems with electricity, problems with crime, problems with garbage collection and all those things. When you hear these things and you listen to them, you say, boy, Nevis and Nevisians must be fortunate, because you have a responsible government in Nevis that has made sure that when you turn on your tap at home or anywhere you go on the island, there is water. At this time of the year, in the past, we would have heard a lot of challenges with water. You're not hearing that this year for sure, because there were 2 wells over in Maddens that there was some success had with those wells, and as a matter of fact, those wells have been connected to the tank over there in Maddens. I believe that has been done to this point. But if not, it is being done. The desal plant that is over there at Butler's, that water is already in our system, so there is more water available to our people. That is what a responsible government does. These things may seem like they're trivial to some, but a government was elected to look after the affairs of the people of Nevis, the island of Nevis, and that is what the Concerned Citizens government is, our party is doing in government. So when you hear about problems with electricity in different islands, where you have rolling blackouts, well, I don't want to single out anybody, but you know where you are right now listening to me. And you know what has transpired, even down in St. Kitts, and I hope they don't knock me for this, but this is a fact. They have to rent generators down there, those containerized generators, to keep the power going in St. Kitts. But we have power here. Power here at our generating plant. New generating sets have been put there within the last couple of years. That is what a responsible government does. Collection of garbage or waste, trucks all up and down Nevis. New trucks have been bought in recent years. Roads. You talk about where money has been spent. It's easy for the NRP to say, where the money gone? Well, you can say what you like, but people out there enjoying the roads. People enjoying the convenience of the water. People enjoying the convenience of the electricity. People enjoying the convenience. The other day I was driving and heading towards Gingerland, and I passed, 4 school buses passed me coming towards St. James. 4. There was a point in time. We had some green buses, yeah? See how far we have come? Some green buses then. Green school buses, that is. And then we moved to some yellow ones. Remember, we used to walk from junior high school all the way to Brickhill and Butlers. Not so now. Buses are plenty on the road. School buses. These are the things that will ensure that our children get to school in a comfortable environment in that school bus. So it means that their mindset should be focused on their books, doing their schoolwork, not having to fight with the challenges of getting to school. We get them there and get them home. And these are things that are positive indicators in our island to suggest that we are heading in the right direction. You know, the other day I heard this person who is a staunch supporter of the NRP say, oh, things bad in Nevis, they say. That is what he was saying, because people have to work 2 and 3 jobs. What did I just say? Jobs. I said to myself, what lunacy, what foolishness. 2 and 3 jobs? If the economy is buoyant and there are jobs available, work is available for people, by more power to those out there who can hold 2, 3 or 4 jobs. The family structure should be such so as to accommodate where as an aunt is there, or grandmother, or whomever, a father or somebody pitch in and look after the kids if the kids need some attention, for example. Not everybody will fall into that category, but I can say to you that with the influx of vehicles we have seen from Japan in recent months, it tells me that our young men and young women are buying vehicles, buying their mode of transportation to take them to various jobs here on the island of Nevis. So they work at one job 7 to 3, whatever the case might be, or 8 to 4, and then they go on to another job thereafter. How do they get there? Those same vehicles that they're buying up. How did they get those vehicles? The banks are lending money. Would the bank lend someone money who is not working? Absolutely not. Well, that would be an irresponsible bank. But the bank will lend to persons who show that they have the ability to pay or to repay that loan. And so persons are getting their mortgages at the bank to buy their cars, and they're getting mortgage to buy their house or pay for their house. And so these are indicators to tell us that there are positive things happening here on the island of Nevis, irrespective of who might say nothing go on. Well, nothing going on for some of them, because you know what? They have made no effort to improve their lives, so they want to make it look so bad for those who are trying to improve themselves and those who are going out there making an honest day's living, making an honest dollar, working hard to make sure they can feed themselves, their family, put something aside to send the children to school, and ensure that they provide the type of life that some of us may not have had back then, but we're able to do so for our children in this particular climate that we're in. Are things difficult? And absolutely. Things are difficult all over the world, not just Nevis, not just St. Kitts, not just in this federation, the whole world. And you know the interesting thing? When certain phenomena happen anywhere internationally, it falls back on us because we'll feel it. If there's an increase in the price of oil that comes out of whether the Middle East or wherever oil comes from, whoever sells us oil, if there's an increase in the price, everything else will be increased as a result. Cost of transportation will increase, cost of goods will increase, cost of services will increase, everything will increase, and it will be felt by us. Those are external factors that we have no control over. But I will say to you that by and large, irrespective of the challenges, we have learned to be resilient as a people. And as the old people will say, we have learned to cut and contrive and spend a dollar in a wise way. And so that is why you see so many people going back and forth, and you go to some of the restaurants, some of the hotels, you see young people in threes, groups of 3s, 4s and 5s, having a dinner, enjoying their money that they make. And I said to them, go out and enjoy your life, yeah? You don't study the NRP when they're talking negative. Those who out there ain't making no headway in life, don't even be persuaded by them. Leave them there at the cross, foot of the cross, that is. Well, I hear the music in my head, in my headset, and it is time to go. So let me just wrap up and say, listen, those of you who would not have heard me at the start of the show, go on down to the E.T. Willard Park and patronize all of the stalls down there, all of the vendors. Buy something. Go down and enjoy the music, and later this afternoon I'm sure they'll have some bands and the likes. It will be a festive atmosphere. I always like to tell people to enjoy that event. It's once a year, and it's a really big event on the calendar of activities here in Nevis. Agro Expo 2025. And also, just a reminder that, of course, the funeral of Keith Glasgow on Monday. Let's go out and support the family. And then, of course, I will advertise my cricket extravaganza, which comes up on Easter Sunday, the 20th of April. Well, that has been my show for today, and it's normally a quick sprint to the end. An hour goes by quickly, and so I want to thank the technicians for their support this afternoon. Thank all of the workers here at Von Radio, and wish everyone a wonderful weekend. If you go to church on a Saturday, go and serve your God. If you go on a Sunday, go and do likewise, and have a wonderful weekend. May God bless the entire island of Nevis and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And say a prayer for all of us when you go to church, so that we can be better people as we go along in this life. Thank you very much. Have a good, safe, and wonderful weekend.
Opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
With all the power from the tower, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean.